Welcome to Daytona International Speedway for the Daytona 500 Daytona Duel Qualifiers, a pair of two races that set the grid for the Daytona 500. A lot of teams, a lot of cars here trying to make their way into the Daytona 500. 30 cars in lineup for Duel 1, 31 cars line up for Duel 2. This is by far the biggest car entry for the duels, and a lot of teams, as you can see here. Let's look at some shift arounds in between 2024 and 2025. Chase Briscoe lands a ride at Joe Gibbs Racing, finds his new home after his old home shut down at the end of the season. Moving back to the number 60, same scenario, different home, as Ryan Preece lands with the number 60 team after having the same team last season, Stewart-Haas Racing, shut down. Martin Truex Jr. one final ride with Tricon Garage making their Cup Series debut. Sophia in an unchartered expansion team for 2311 Racing, making her debut at Daytona. Always good on those drafting tracks. Another team making their debut, Junior Motorsports, the multi-time winner in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and last year's champion Justin Allgaier with that team, making their debut together in the NASCAR Cup Series with Traveler Whiskey on the hood. Joshua Santiago in an unchartered expansion for Legacy Motor Club. The number 76, he got to hand select his number. Jimmy Johnson allowed him to do so. Craftsman on the hood. And he's ready to go prove why he was hired. Sam Mayer cut his teeth down in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, was racing with Junior Motorsports, then went to Haas Factory Team, and is now making a part-time start to try to qualify for the Daytona 500. Right next to him, Riley Herbst used to race for Stewart-Haas Racing, now Haas Factory Team, and now is in the Cup Series with an entirely new manufacturer, different team, 2311. And they are a third full-time expansion. They will be joining Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick in the chartered cars of the three. Noah Gragson, another refugee from Stewart-Haas Racing, used to race the number 10, now is in the number 36 for Front Row Motorsports. Ty Dillon back to the NASCAR Cup Series, this time with Colleague Racing, and the number AG1, number 10. Kevin Harvick back in the Cup Series here for a part-time start in his own Kevin Harvick Incorporated, making some part-time starts this season. That team finally back after a long time. Corey LaJoie in the Stacking Pennies Performance number 01 Mustang, heavily backed by Rick Ware Racing. Brandon Brown making his start over from V8 Supercars here, racing, trying to make his way into the Daytona 500 for Trackhouse. Harrison Burton got the downgrade to the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year, but is back to race the Daytona 500, or at least he will attempt to here with Rick Ware Racing. Josh Williams comes into this season with high hopes for another NASCAR Xfinity Series season, but was surprised when he got the offer to race the Daytona 500 with Colleague. After getting evicted from his Xfinity Series ride last year, Parker Retzloff now trying to make the Daytona 500 in the number 50 car part-time here. Anthony Alfredo once again back to try to make the Daytona 500 in the number 62 beard oil car with Wendy's on the hood. JJ Yaley once again trying to make the Daytona 500. Every year, every team he's tried, he has failed to make the Daytona 500. Only made it in once. And that was a while ago. Long time ago. He's trying to let that statistic not get to him and try to make the race all the way from the back. Sheldon Creed not starting where he wanted to. The number 27 FanDuel car all the way in the back. Creed's going to have to make his way up and do a lot of digging in order to get into the show today. And that's all the new racing stories as far as Duel 1 goes. We're going to get the pace car rolling in just a minute and get to the racing action. And the pace car gets set and the cars are ready to go here for the Daytona Duels. And as we get ready to go racing, 6 laps are going to determine it all here at Daytona. And green flags in the air here for duel number 1. Chase Briscoe immediately going to get crossed over by Joe Logano there. As now the Toyotas start getting together on that outside. Briscoe goes down. Going to start leading in Hamlin all the way up to the wall there with some other Toyotas. Oh, the huge crash! And for the second time in his career, Burton up and over down the back straightaway of Daytona. And a lot of cars involved. Tough break for Harrison Burton, as we mentioned earlier, getting fired from his team at the end of last season, now back part-time and once again up and over, starting his tenure with Rick Ware as he did with the Wood Brothers before, up and over down the back stretch of Daytona. As we get ready to go back green to the Daytona Duels, and once again, Briscoe going to lead him down, but all the Toyotas are on the inside, all the Fords are on the outside. Chevrolet is nowhere to be seen. And here they go. Smart move by the 76. Going to fill up that middle lane. Here he comes. Up to the lead. Now he's going to start falling back as that line loses momentum there. A lot of cars losing the lead draft. And that line gets more momentum. Out to the lead goes Denny Hamlin. Sophia in second. Chase Briscoe up on that inside. Hamlin down to the bottom now. Sees that line is prevailing. Going to leave the outside high and dry. And to the line. The 40 gets sideways. And that's going to be it for duel number 1. But before we move on to duel number 2, we have the cars lined up here on pit road. And in just a second, the teams are going to bring them into the infield, into the garages. And all these cars are going to be subject to post-race technical inspection. If any of these cars fail, they will be brought to the rear of the field. And Justin Allgaier, if he fails, he will be booted out. And another car will be put in. Whoever was highest between the other cars that did not make it. As this Duel 1 race allows 4 cars to get in instead of 3 like next duel will. And here we have the cars all lined up for Duel 2. 3 of these guys are going to lock their way in who have not locked their way in yet. But a lot of these guys towards the back are going to go home. Jimmy Johnson back for 2 starts in the number 84 for this year. May look like his career is coming to a full end. Shane Van Gisbergen full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series in that number 88 WeatherTech Chevrolet Camaro. Back to the Cup Series, Cole Custer in the number 41 Haas Tooling car. And right next to him, the 16 AJ Allmendinger, also back. A little change from the 71 over to the 38. That is Zane Smith. My bad. So used to last year calling that Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland moved over to the 34. And now Zane Smith moves from the 71 to the 38 after being let go. Right next to Smith is Bow, making his first ever start in the NASCAR Cup Series for Joe Gibbs Racing. In that 18, it's M&M's comes back. And his good buddy Ash in the 55 for MBM right next to him. A little further back, the 91 there. Avelio Castroneves making his first start in the Daytona 500. Austin Hill making a start for RCR in that number 33 Chevrolet Camaro. And you had Will Brown in the 87 in Duel 1. How about Brock Feeney in the 97? In Duel 2, looking to make his way into his first ever Daytona 500. Chandler Smith seated next to him there in the number 66 for MBM. Was supposed to originally be Mike Wallace, but due to some circumstances, he was denied to race that Arby's number 66 Ford Mustang. And here we are. Daniel Hemrick had a huge demotion all the way down to the NASCAR Truck Series, but here he is with the team that fired him for one last race. And the number 13 Quick Tie Chevrolet Camaro. Ben Rhodes in the 29, Matt Crafton in the 26, respectively, each going for the Daytona 500. Let's see if any of them can get it done. Rounding out the field, though, in that number 78, B.J. McLeod, looking to get in the Daytona 500. He's going to have to do it from the rear today. Let's see if he can get it done. And as the cars roll off for Duel 2, the Hendrick car is going to lead him down there. And as we get set to go racing here, 6 laps are going to determine 11 drivers' careers. And green flags in the air here in Duel number 2. The HendrickCar.com cars of Kyle Larson and William Byron lead him down there. Down the back straightaway. Those two working together beautifully. Austin Cindric in tow, separating them from their teammate Chase Elliott there back and forth. And here come the Toyotas trying to build themselves up on the inside. Look at them to crash in the back. A lot of cars involved. And Trackhouse continuing to plummet money as the 91 and the 1 both involved there. And the 88 got a little bit of damage. On top of from Duel 1, the 87 being totaled. That is now 3 cars totaled as we go back green. And 1 car damaged for them, and are immediately out to the lead go the Hendrick cars. Larson to the inside and around. More cars, more. Saw Suarez there, and that finished off Shane Van Gisbergen as you see him there, right there, and that also took the 97. 6 cars, all 6 from Trackhouse, now junked. Ty Gibbs you see involved. Toyota, they were so flawless. And Gibbs just wrong place, wrong time, and he was involved. And after this cleanup, there's only going to be 3 cars who need to race their way in, still in this duel, meaning everyone in the remainder of the field is locked in. As the green flag you see back in the air down to the turn 1, side by side, Bell, Wallace. See that 55 car back there, Ash, he is locked in. That final car there as they now start going single file here. Down the white flag and off of turn 4. Bell going to make the move. Too late. Wallace is going to win Duel 2. And we're going to wrap things up here at Daytona. The duels. The grid has now been set. And Chase Briscoe, William Byron are going to lead him down to the green. And Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace are going to follow suit in row number 2, your duel winners. All these cars are now going to face technical inspection to see if they are up to par to start the race. If not, they will be sent to the rear of the field for the Daytona 500. Just like Duel 1, in which those cars are finishing going through inspection now. Thank you for tuning in at Daytona, and we'll see you for the Great American Race.